So there is this distance between you and your husband that seems to be getting worse. You've tried communicating, you've tried giving him space, you've tried everything, but nothing actually works. Is this even fixable? Is connection possible with an emotionally unavailable man? Or is it time to accept that you're just one of those people who is destined for a lonely marriage? I have good news. In many cases, yes, you can build connection with an emotionally unavailable man. It takes a lot of patience, a truckload of patience, but it is possible. And today I'm going to tell you how. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zahra Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 4 years.
And before we get started, some disclaimers. Again, just like in the last episode about emotional unavailability, I'm going to be using a lot of gendered language, and I apologize ahead of time. If you are a man who has an emotionally unavailable wife, please just switch the genders and know that everything I say still applies to your situation. Secondly, shout out to you, AJ. I've been asking you a lot of questions over the last month about men's perspective and all of this to make sure that information I have is as accurate as I can make it. So I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate it.
It was very uncomfortable, those questions that you've been asking me.
I know.
So I'm just going to absorb all of your acknowledgement.
Okay, so I just wanted to make clear the amount of the sacrifice that you've made for the sake of our listeners. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr on their behalf. And now let's get started. So this week's episode is entitled 4 Steps to Reconnect with an Emotionally Unavailable Husband. Are you ready for this episode? I know it was very taxing to get here.
Yeah, I think I have inherently become more emotionally available despite my best efforts.
I think it was against your will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you were in this position where you were with an emotionally unavailable spouse, what would you do? How would you fix that?
Oh, you're okay. So you're asking as if it's something I would want to fix.
Oh, yes.
Gotcha.
If you would want actual connection and a bond with your spouse,
more than like the baseline, right?
Yeah, more than baseline.
Because the baseline seems like perfectly fine for me. However,
yes,
when it comes to being lovey-dovey,
yeah,
and emotionally open,
yeah,
then there's definitely upsides to that.
Okay.
And if my wife was emotionally shut, closed,
yes,
like a castle door with a moat of alligators that can swim in lava.
Okay.
The moat's full of lava, that kind of situation, then I would want to have an invitation. You know?
Are you going to get the invitation? You want her to invite you?
I would not want to storm the castle.
Oh, so you're going to wait for her to invite you?
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I would not wait for you to invite me because you would not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would send a letter of correspondence. I would send a postman or a messenger.
A pigeon.
Right? No. The pigeons. They're on your side.
Oh.
I've learned that. I've learned that already. You know. I would send a person to brave the alligator-infested lava.
Okay. All right.
In order for them to survive the lava, I would give them stilts.
Okay, see, I'm looking for where the analogy fits in actual strategy, like in like where the analogy fits into real life.
This is not an analogy. This is real life. The danger is real.
So if you were married to somebody who's emotionally unavailable all the time, you just start building stilts.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that is a strategy.
I'll climb over all those walls and barriers, and I will say, "Witness me."
All right. So that I can't say that's not a strategy. It's definitely a strategy.
If that doesn't work, I would sit down and try to communicate.
Okay. So the amount of eye rolling in that, I'm just gonna blow right past it. Okay, so let's talk about what I would suggest, what I would recommend.
Please do. You have more knowledge in this than I do.
No, it's always good to have perspective, right? So there are four, as the title suggested, there are 4 steps. I call them steps just simply because I like breaking things down into different sections, right? But each they're not really steps. It's not going to be like you did step 1, so now you move on to step 2. It's more like sections, right? And you're going to be doing all 4 simultaneously. But I didn't want to just bombard the people with just like essays worth of a to-do list, so I just broke it up into 4 sections. And because I like the word steps, we're going to call the section steps, right? But the steps are not actually steps. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense. It makes sense in my head. Let me know if it makes sense outside of my head.
It's like a reverse slide.
All right, sure, that works. Okay. So step 1 is understanding where the emotional unavailability comes from. Now, we talked about this in great detail in the last episode about emotional unavailability. It was the second last episode that we did, right? So the one just before the Red Pill Muslims. If you haven't listened to that, I would highly recommend that you go through that one at some point, just because we went through in great detail what is the source of emotional unavailability in men, right? But just as like a quick recap, when it comes to emotional unavailability in your marriage, the best way to conceptualize it is to think of the way that you interact with your spouse as in one of 2 categories. Either they're going to be positive interactions or negative interactions, right? So the positive interactions are the ones that are going to be the affection, connecting, bond building. I think you called it lovey-dovey, all of the lovey-dovey interactions, the ones that build emotional intimacy directly, right? Whereas the negative interactions are going to be related to conflict resolution, right? So the conflicts, that makes sense so far?
Yeah, it does. Like, it makes sense. Positive is good stuff.
Yes.
Negative is discipline.
Or discipline?
Yeah.
That took a turn. So are you sure we're going to go with the word discipline?
Punishment.
We'll stick with discipline. Okay, please don't. There's no discipline here. He's just joking. But negative interactions, right?
Yeah.
So the positive interactions versus negative interactions. Why it's useful to conceptualize it this way is because the reasons why, we'll say men, but this also applies to women, but the reasons why men are emotionally unavailable or are pushing away from positive interactions is different from the reasons why they tend to be pushing away or averse to these negative interactions. So why is it that men shy away from being lovey-dovey, the connecting, the affection? I don't mean men in general, but men who are emotionally unavailable. Why are they shying away from this? Now, when I asked you, right, because I went through the literature and I thought it's better to just go directly to the source, and you gave me a lot of really great insight. You explained that there's 2 reasons. First is they don't want to seem weak to their spouse, because there's a lot of cultural programming that somehow
not cultural, societal,
right? Like you're right, more general. There's social programming that being affectionate with your spouse is somehow effeminate, is somehow makes you appear weak. And even when it's just the 2 of you and you're in your home alone, the person he's most concerned about appearing weak in front of is his wife herself.
Yeah.
So that's why even from her, he's holding back, because if he shows some affection, he's worried that she's gonna think I'm being girly. She's gonna think that I'm not strong. What's the word that they use? Simping. She's gonna think I'm simping, right? Which is objectively wild, but I understand where the ideas and the social programming comes from.
Yeah. I don't know what simping stands for, but I think it's not possible to simp for someone that you're married to.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I said it's wild.
Yeah.
Right? The second reason why they shy away from being lovey-dovey is that they're worried about being hurt, right? That they're worried about that allowing this person in, because when you are being affectionate with someone, you're being in a special type of vulnerable where you're allowing them into your inner world, into your inner space, right, into your heart, and that makes you emotionally very, very vulnerable. So there is a lot of messaging that happens on the internet about all the reasons why women cannot be trusted, right? We spoke about that a little bit in the previous episode about the red pill Muslims. But all that messaging that if you trust a woman, she's going to hurt you, she's going to be disloyal, she's going to take your kids, you know, the government is on her side, etc., etc., etc. So to prevent all of that hurt, it's better to not be vulnerable in the first place. Another source of fear of this hurt can be previous experience, right? So if for somebody who was previously divorced and has experienced any of the things we've just listed, in one way or another, is again worried about being hurt. So what are the antidotes?
There is a final one that I think is a factor.
Okay.
Yeah. To explain this, I'll give the lab experiment. I don't know if I've told you this before, but they had like 5 or 6 monkeys,
mm-hmm.
and they put a ladder
mm-hmm.
In the room.
Okay.
And they put like a clove of bananas.
Oh yeah.
Dangling from the very top.
Yeah.
And anytime a monkey reached up and grabbed a banana,
mm-hmm.
Freezing cold water would splash all the monkeys.
Oh no.
As well as the one at the top, right?
Yeah.
And so over time, the monkeys would self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they see someone going up,
mm-hmm.
they would beat that monkey.
Oh no.
Right? To prevent it from climbing up.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody tried to go up, they would force them back down.
Yeah.
And eventually they started to swap out. They will take out a monkey and replace it with a new one.
Yeah.
New one instantly tries to climb up, gets beat.
Yeah.
And they kept doing that until the entire first population of monkeys
mm-hmm.
was removed,
mm-hmm.
replaced by an entirely new population of monkeys
mm-hmm.
who never saw the consequence behind climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
All they knew was if someone tries to climb the ladder,
it's
socially,
bad.
We beat that person.
Yeah, those are the rules.
Yeah. And so I think that men sometimes will see horror stories on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Or Instagram or social media or whatever,
mm-hmm.
where there are 2 people
mm-hmm.
recording an argument amongst each other,
mm-hmm.
right? Either they're married or they're boyfriend and girlfriend when it comes to the non-Islamic side.
Mm-hmm.
And the one party will be divulging the secrets of the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that person's like, what are you doing? I shared this with you in private. This was our secret. This was my vulnerability that I shared to you.
Yeah.
And now you've just told everybody about this, right?
Yeah.
Either at a dinner party or with family or in front of friends, they'll just divulge. So this is why, and that is why, and I can't believe I even let you do this or that, right?
Yeah.
And so we see these experiences that the lesser fortunate have experienced, and we sort of fall into that mentality of the monkeys.
Yeah.
We've never experienced it ourselves.
Yeah. But
we sure as heck aren't going to try.
Yeah. Okay, that makes. I think that what you're doing is you're expanding upon the last one about the second of the 2 reasons why men avoid positive interactions. The one where they're worried about being hurt. Right?
Yeah.
And that was a good example. I think that example is probably more applicable to the negative interactions that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, but if there was one that was related to positive interactions, you remember during the last episode, I showed you that TikTok, where the wives were sitting down, laying down,
recording.
Yeah, and then they recorded their husbands being very affectionate with them.
Yeah,
like just like holding their hand or whatever, just being very affectionate, being very lovey dovey.
Sweet talk.
Yeah,
or like ooh, goo, 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 or
all right. And then the men didn't know they were being recorded, and as soon as they noticed the camera, they were deeply upset, right?
What? Turn that off. Delete the video.
I think one gentleman just immediately saw the camera and said football, sports, manly things.
Exactly.
Right? Because you got to claw back your masculinity that he thinks is lost. But what I'm saying is there's conditioning that the vulnerability, when you let someone into that space, they'll betray you. Right? And those men are going to take that information and hold back. They're going to be it's going to be hard for them to open up a second time because they were proven right. That subconscious wound was proven right. So hopefully that makes sense about the positive interactions. So what is the antidote? We're just gonna mention in brief the antidote for each one, just for the listener to keep in mind, and we'll consolidate all of it in the last two steps, right? But the antidote for we'll talk about being hurt. If your husband or wife, but your husband with emotional unavailability is holding back from being affectionate with you because he's worried that you might hurt him, right? The antidote to that is trust.
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than done, but that means that you're going to have to keep in mind that on the days when he finally does let you in, it's super important that you take even greater care to not betray that trust. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the more times that he allows you in and he notices, I can trust her, each time it's going to feel a little bit easier, right? But if at any point any of that trust is betrayed, even like due to a misunderstanding, it's going to be very hard for him to come back up to the point of progress, right? So just keep that in mind. The antidote to the fear of hurt is trust. The antidote to worrying about looking weak in front of you, that being affectionate is somehow effeminate, somehow makes me appear weaker in front of the wife or in front of other people, PDA. The antidote to that is a lot of reassurance that I think you're not actually weak, you're very strong, and there's a lot of strength in being vulnerable with me this way because I know how hard it is, and because I know you're doing it for me, and that means so much for me. Like a lot of reassurance that about the truth that it's actually very masculine to want to bond with your wife and be affectionate with your wife, as our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us. And there is no one more masculine than him. The negative interactions, right? So we spoke about how emotionally unavailable men are avoiding positive interactions. Let's talk about how some of the reasons why they are avoiding negative interactions, the conflicts, right? So we spoke about this in detail in the last episode, that whenever there is a tension, right? There's a tension due to some kind of conflict, argument, even just a bad mood, but there's some sort of tension between the two of you. If that escalates in any way, they tend to get emotionally overwhelmed faster and more sustained than women. And this has been measured biologically. This has been measured. What I mean by that is that they put couples in a lab, waited for them to have inevitably an argument, and then looked at their blood pressures, look at their heart rate, and they noticed that the stress response was higher and more sustained in the men. Whereas with the women, when there was a stress response in the middle of the argument, they would tend to come back down to baseline much easier, right? So this sustained stress response was called flooding by Gottman. So this emotional overwhelm or flooding is deeply uncomfortable. And just avoiding feeling emotionally overwhelmed or flooding is a big part of the reason why they're just avoiding the negative interactions, the conflicts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the conflict, the sitting down and having discussions, like the communication during difficult times, right? So what I see a lot of clients do sometimes in terms of the men's side is that they'll lie. All right, they'll say, no, that didn't happen, or just anything to avoid it. Whenever the wife will try to schedule, like, can we talk about this? They'll say, no, I'm busy. No, I have to sleep. No, I'm tired. No, I'm doing. They'll do everything they can to avoid having these difficult conversations. A big part of that is probably due to this emotional overwhelm or flooding.
Mm-hmm.
The second reason why they're avoiding these negative interactions is, again, similar to the positive interactions. Whenever you are doing proper conflict resolution, it requires a degree of vulnerability where you have to explain why you were hurt.
Yeah.
You have to first admit, I was hurt because of this. I was hurt. And then second, you have to explain why you were hurt. All of this requires vulnerability. And whenever vulnerability is required, they equate it with weakness. So they don't want to appear weak, right? They don't want to look effeminate. They don't want to look like they're simping. They don't want to appear weak, right? To say that I'm hurt is to admit weakness. So what are the antidotes? The antidote to emotional flooding the emotional overwhelm or flooding is to maintain as calm and low tension an environment as possible during conflicts, and to make sure that the situation is blameless. Like, we're talking about a situation, we're not talking about whose fault it was. We're not passing judgment. Everything is calm. We're going to reduce tension as much as possible. You're going to have to do that much more in the beginning, and over time, as your spouse becomes more and more comfortable with the idea that these conflict resolution discussions are not so painful, you'll be able to lean back on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? But in the very beginning, you're going to really have to watch tone, keep everything calm, make sure that you are emotionally sober, all of the things. So
I think...
Sorry, go ahead.
I think I just discovered something.
Oh, tell me.
You know when they tell someone to man up?
Oh,
or they tell someone to woman up, lesser used, right? Mm-hmm. It includes up.
Yeah.
Right? Man up, right? So to man up is typically like what? Hide your emotions, right? In a sense, lie. Yeah. You know? When they want someone to be truthful, though, they say, I want you to level with me, right?
Oh.
So to man up is to hide your emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think they're saying put up your guards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like put your shields up, put your guard up, man up.
Yeah.
Man, you guys had a hard time. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for the negative impact that social learning has had on men, and I feel bad for the negative impact that social learning has had on women, because believe me, it has definitely had an impact on us.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, it has.
Y'all have to work now.
Not just that.
That's the worst kind of social learning.
Not just that. There's a lot of ideas about what femininity is here especially in the West, and that has a lot of things that we'll talk about in a different episode, right?
Yeah.
But for right now, we're speaking about the men. So that's the antidote for the negative interactions, right? When there's emotional flooding, you keep a calm, blameless, low tension environment during problem solving. In order to help him understand that being vulnerable during conflict resolution is not make him weak. Again, you need to reassure him that there's a lot of strength in being vulnerable and wanting to work on your marriage and wanting to help solve these problems, right? And that the weak thing is actually hiding and running away from it. So a lot of reassuring language is very helpful for that. So that was step one, and understanding where, like, not even so much where the emotional unavailability comes from, but the source of it, like understanding the mechanisms of it, right? So that brings us to step two. I call it basic principles. So these are all of the ideas to keep in the back of your mind about how this process is going to work as you start on this journey of trying to reconnect with your emotionally unavailable spouse. Yeah. So principle number one, it will not happen overnight.
No.
No, this is a process. It will take time. It will take, like I said in the beginning, a lot of patience. If I were to give an analogy, like, I'm not saying that men are dogs. I'm not saying that women are dogs, but I'm saying that this analogy works. If a person went to a shelter and brought home a new pet,
yeah,
and this pet had experienced a lot of trauma in the past. So when you bring home this pet is very aggressive, very super defensive, has a strong fear response, doesn't really come out of the room, etc. How are you going to get this pet to calm down and feel comfortable and be careful in your home? Sorry, I'm going to repeat that. How are you going to get this pet to calm down and feel comfortable and welcome in your home, right?
Feed it and don't mistreat it.
Yeah, but even exactly. But it's going to take a lot of reassurance, through calmness, through kindness, through gentleness. This pet is going to need to see repeatedly over and over again that through multiple interactions that they're not going to hurt me and they're only going to help me.
Yeah.
Right? So similarly, this is not going to happen overnight. The social learning or the programming of what this false idea of what masculinity is did not happen overnight. So deprogramming it is not going to happen overnight. That's the first principle.
Yeah.
Right? So just make sure you understand that. It takes, so depending on how, like, I see emotional unavailability as a spectrum, right? So when somebody's further up on the spectrum, it'll take them longer to start to bring those guards down a little bit. But in general, I say that with coaching or with consistent effort, within like a few weeks, you start to see glimpses of the reconnection. And when you start to see the glimpses, it's very encouraging, and the progress starts to build upon that.
Yeah.
Second principle, it's going to move slower than you would like it to. Like, I'm talking about the progress will move slower than you would like it to move. However, it'll move faster than he would like it to move. It's going to be somewhere in between your comfort levels. That means you're both going to be uncomfortable, right? Yeah. So
that's the best place to be.
Yeah, it's fair. No one's happy. It's fair. Principle number 3. The more emotionally available partner will have to take the lead, at least for the first while. That means that the partner, in general, this is a general principle in marriage, right? That the partner who wants things to change is going to be the one who has to direct the change, like take the lead on making the change happen.
Exactly.
So if you want to build connection with an emotionally unavailable spouse, you're going to have to take the lead for a while. You're going to have to be the one who is doing everything we're talking about in this episode. Principle number 4 is about feedback, right? To provide positive feedback whenever possible. So when I said that after a couple weeks, maybe even shorter than that, you'll start to see little glimpses of progress. Like you'll see little glimpses where they'll start to initiate connection, maybe. Encourage that, nurture that. Just let him know or let her know that's amazing. I really appreciate. I can see how hard you're working. I know how hard that was. Lots and lots of positive feedback. And
you can substitute all that by implementing a gold star system.
All right, let's not do that. It's patronizing.
You got a gold star today. Congratulations.
I would be so conflicted because
we're going to pin that up on the fridge.
I would be conflicted because I love stars, but I also feel patronized at the same time. I mean, I'll take the star.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not going to be happy about it.
Who's going to turn down the star? Parents visit, they're like, oh my God, so many stars. Wow.
You've been doing great, right?
Amazing.
Please don't do that. Don't do the gold star system. But give a lot of genuine positive feedback, right? People know when they're being patronized. If there are any criticisms to anything that your spouse is doing in terms of their effort, frame the criticism as positive feedback. right? So, for example, if you've been working, if you find out that your love language is words of affirmation, and you had a discussion, like we're going to talk about how to have these discussions in step 4, but you've had a discussion about how you would really like for him to tell you that I love you from time to time, right? And then one day, unsolicited, he tells you, I think you're great. That's awesome. That's amazing. Encourage that. So the way that you would frame, we'll call it a criticism, but the way you would frame this criticism is like, oh, that means so much to me. Thank you so much. That I know how challenging this is for you.
I would call that feedback.
Yeah. But when you tell me I love you, that means even more to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that it's not really a criticism. It's just more like of a redirection.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Well, let's implement that maybe after like the 4th time
exactly.
he says you're great.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just jump right into it,
Yeah.
You're great. I want you to say you love me instead.
Let's change this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That exactly. But that's the example that I could come up with. To make sure that you frame criticisms as positive feedback as well. Principle number 5. Don't use blame. So the 5th and 6th principles are primarily for during negative interactions.
Mm-hmm,
but the 5th principle is don't use blaming language or faulting language, right? So that when you speak about so if you are a listener of ours, you know about the 5 steps of discussion whenever there's a conflict that now has to be resolved, right? And one of the first steps is the second step is to talk about your experience, where you talk about, what I was hurt because. When you speak about your experience, use language that is as neutral as possible. It's not, you did this, you hurt me, right? So you use very neutral language of, I was hurt when this happened, instead of, I was hurt when you did this. It's different. The difference is subtle, but for somebody who's dealing with emotional flooding, I promise you, it makes a really big difference in helping that blood pressure to come down and that heart rate to come down.
I agree. You want to start off mild, right? And then over a couple of years, work your way up to intense.
All right. Have we reached the intense?
No. We're still in the mild stage,
We're
right?
still in the mild stage.
Like, if you want to say to someone how you appreciate them.
Yeah.
In the first stages of your marriage, like the first couple of years, you start off mild, right? You say, I tolerate you, right? And then after a couple of years, you build up to like, okay, well, you can be in the same room as me.
Okay, interestingly, that'll come up later.
Yeah.
It's actually going to come up later.
No, let me set the record straight. She does not discipline me, and I more than tolerate her.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
You feel safe in your home?
Very safe,
Okay, I also feel safe in my home.
I have no flight or what is it called? Fight or flight?
Fight or flight.
Or freeze or fawn.
Yeah, those are all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There you go.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So that brings us to number 6, which is also a principle that to be used during negative interactions. Which is to try to maintain a calm and open tone and body language, right? Body language is everything. Like if you say, there's a difference between saying to your partner that I was very hurt when I didn't receive a call while you were out at work, versus I was very hurt when I didn't receive a call while you were at work.
Yeah.
Like those are 2 different sentences, right? So tone is very important, and body language is very important. It's make sure that the goal is to reduce tension, right?
Yeah.
Because when you reduce tension and you help him understand that having these conversations is actually a comfortable experience, it'll help him to bring those vital signs down, just like yours are down.
Yeah.
In Shaa Allah.
There's a call back to our prior episodes, maybe like 6 months ago.
Oh.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If your husband or your wife has like a new bruise or a scratch on your face, on their face, right? Maybe they were playing football, they got a little rough with their friends, right?
Yeah.
And they come back beaten, battered, whatever. And the way you would attend to that gently is, oh my God, what's wrong with your face? let me take a look at it, right?
Yeah.
The wrong way to do it, the wrong tone is, what's wrong with your face?
Those are two different sentences.
Yeah.
Very good point. So that brings us to step 3. Step 3, right? Again, these aren't actual steps. All 4 things are going to be happening at the same time, but I just wanted to help you separate them in your mind, right? So step 3 is going to be creating an emotional safe space between the two of you.
Yeah.
Because a big part of this is going to be helping him to understand that being affectionate with you is not make him weak, and that you're not going to hurt him when he's affectionate with you, and that when things are difficult and you're having a conflict, to help those vital signs to come down, and again, that he's not being weak for letting you know how he feels during those conflicts. All of that, in order for all of that to happen, there needs to be a space between you. Like, not some later on, we've talked about creating an actual physical safe space where you can sit down and have these discussions, but I'm talking about an emotional safe space between the two of you, that you are someone that he can trust to be comfortable around.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, so there are generally 3 things that we can do to start to create an emotional safe space between the two of you. If you wanted more details on this, we have a whole episode dedicated to how to create the emotional safe space. I will link that somewhere in the video.
In Shaa Allah.
In Shaa Allah, or you can always find it in the description below. But the 3 steps to creating an emotional safe space. The first thing, John Gottman, he talks a lot about repair attempts. Any guesses what a repair attempt is?
An attempt to repair something.
Yeah. So
Where's my gold star?
On the fridge.
Okay.
Whenever there is a conflict or there is tension between a couple, right? One or both of the couples, like whichever couple feels more uncomfortable or believes they're at fault, is going to do a repair attempt. They're going to try to de-escalate the situation. So repair attempts are attempts to de-escalate the situation and help things come back down to baseline.
Yeah.
So a repair attempt could be trying to give a hug, maybe making a silly face, making a joke, just anything to simmer down the temperature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you do a lot of repair attempts all the time. And on the once in a blue moon occasion where I actually upset you, I'll do repair attempts. So he speaks a lot about it's very important to let these I'm so sorry. I don't know why. I am very eloquent in life until I come to do the podcast.
Yes.
And then my mouth stops working properly. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So just bear with me. But it's very important to let these repair attempts work and land, right? So when you are very upset because your spouse, I shouldn't say husband, when your spouse did something trifling that was just wild, and they know it, and you're about to have one of those conversations because you now have a conflict.
Yeah.
But they make a silly face to try to make you laugh, and you're not ready to laugh. If the issue here is that your spouse is emotionally unavailable, it's a good idea to let more of those repair attempts start to land.
Yeah.
Right? So to just laugh or just to smile or just to let
Smiling is easier.
Yeah, just to let it work. Right?
Yeah.
Because what that does is it helps to de-escalate the situation. It helps him to be able to calm down as well. So remember we talked about that flooding? Gottman talks a lot about predictors of divorce and repeated flooding. When one of the partners, usually the men, but one of the partners experiences flooding over and over and over again, that is a negative predictor for divorce. That's not a good thing. And the antidote to flooding is repair attempts. So let these repair attempts start to land. It will help nurture a more emotionally safe space between the two of you. That's the first thing. The second,
overall, it is better for the both of you.
Yeah.
Because you want to build their confidence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The more you build their confidence, the more they try their repair attempts.
Yeah.
And the less you guys end up arguing for a long time.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But the most important, yes, absolutely. But the most important thing is that it starts to build trust. It starts to build trust between the two of you, like nothing else, honestly.
Like, imagine if every time your spouse brings you cereal, right? And you trust them so much that you'll like start to eat the cereal without really looking, and you find out that they put orange juice in it.
Did I? Okay.
No, you've never done that. That's why I said imagine.
Okay, good, because I don't know what I'm
I wouldn't say imagine.
Okay.
So you need to build up the trust to this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because if you guys are arguing and you keep shutting down their repair attempts, it's effectively like you're giving them orange juice when they're expecting milk. It's a shock.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what that's a beautiful analogy.
That's right. I'm full of them. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. So that brings us to the second. The second key to starting to build this emotional safe space between the two of you. Again, this is an ongoing process. But the second thing is that you need to start to build a cache of positive memories together, right? So if you're here and you're listening to this episode because you're concerned about emotional unavailability, I suspect the part of that is because there's some level of tension that has developed in your marriage that you have been trying to diffuse, but it's just not diffusing. Yeah. I've been there. Any married person has been there. The antidote to this is to actively now start to build positive memories. These positive memories are very important. I think Gottman refers to it as like overall positive regard or something, but it's very protective. It's very protective for helping to repair any connection, build any connection. It's very nurturing for the bond between the two of you. It gives something to refer back to when things are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when things are difficult and you're going through a conflict or a tension, how they're going to interact with you in that, and the way that you're going to interact with them, both of you, with each other, is depends on what is the positive regard that you already have in place, that cushion of positive regard, that bond, right? So we need to start to build positive memories together in order to increase this positive regard. How can you do that?
Well, just as a pro tip for the men, it's recently come out through social media that apparently, this came to me as a shock. Apparently, a majority of women have been pretending to like bowling and billiards.
No comment.
They've been pretending. So anytime you take them out on a date and you go to a bowling alley.
Yeah, your wife on a date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Muslim here.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Anytime you take them out on a date, you don't go to a bowling alley, don't go to a billiards hall.
It depends. Honestly, it personally for me, it depends on just how aggressive you are with wanting to win.
Oh my God, I saw a short the other day.
Yeah.
Where they were at a bowling alley and the man bowls a strike.
Yeah.
And before he bowled the strike, he was smiling at his wife, right?
Because he knew?
He bowled the strike. No, like they were having jovial conversation.
Oh.
Right? It started out with him being like all lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
And then he bowls the strike.
Yeah.
The second he bowls the strike, he turns back to her.
Yeah.
There's a frown on his face. And he's like, we're not going to be having fun.
No. It's because I'm very competitive, right? I get very competitive, and let's just be real here. All the things that I thought I was good at all my life, turns out I'm not as good as I thought I was. And it's a real ego check each time.
Yeah.
So if you just ease up a little bit, from time to time, without telling me, from time to time, let me feel like I'm winning or doing something. Yeah, no, then I'll be all on board.
Exactly.
Yeah. But okay, so that'll bring us to another one. But how to start to build this cache of positive memories together? One is to play games together, right? So go take him out for bowling, billiards, something physical, right? If it's something physical, then that will be even better, because when you're doing physical things, like you're playing basketball or whatever it is, you tend to be out of your head. You're focusing on the task at hand. And the more physical it is, the more you're focusing on the task at hand. So when you are when there's more tension that has snuck into your marriage and everybody's in their respective corners with their arms crossed, physical games tend to be very good at starting to diffuse that tension, starting to evaporate that tension.
Yes.
So it just even regularly building it into your marriage that, once a month, once a week, whenever it is, we're going to go out somewhere and we're going to go play this physical game. Yeah, In Shaa Allah, somewhere halal. You know what I mean? So playing games together. And this is very wonderful because it gets you both out of your heads like nothing else. Second thing that you can do to build positive memories is anything that will make you laugh together, right? So this could be as simple as just like sharing memes, right? Or sharing videos if you're in the same house together and you see something come across your feed, and then you just physically go up to instead of like texting it to them, physically go up to them so that you can laugh together. So you can you could be in the same place laughing together.
Exactly.
Hopefully he finds what you find funny, first of all. Right?
Yeah, hopefully he's human.
But you never know, sense of humor is very personal, right? But so that you can physically be laughing together. Texting it doesn't count. It's not going to have the same effect.
Yeah.
Watching comedies together is very effective. Like, I love stand-up comedy. A whole bunch of comedians are no longer like ethical to watch anymore for one reason or another, but just watching things that are objectively funny together. And when everything else fails, tickling.
Yeah, be careful with tickling, though. You got to make sure that they have a safe word on hand.
Yes, but tickling tends to work very well for couples, in my experience, that clients have reported back. When it's a really good way to start to diffuse tension, right? And the third way of starting to build a cache of positive memories together, especially when you have an emotionally unavailable spouse who finds it taxing to connect, but just sitting down together, having a conversation and just connecting like you and I are doing right now. Like that's too high of a ask to do, especially in the beginning. So what you do instead is that you get comfortable being in the same space together without needing to talk and doing your own activities.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So just and periodically while you're in that same space. So say the activity that you're doing is that you're watching something on your phone. Yeah. And he might be playing a game, right? And then something funny will happen on your phone. This is when you get up and you go over to him and you're like, hey, look at this. Make sure he pauses if it's possible to pause. I've learned when it's okay for him to look over. But then you show him, this is the funny thing that I saw. Or if he's sitting down and he's playing a game, you can just periodically look up and see what he's doing and ask him about it and just be like, oh, what's this? I haven't seen this one. Are you on the zombie side or are you on the Pokemon side? Like, whatever it is. I don't have a conversation, connect with him doing the thing that he's already doing. But the important thing is to get each other used to being in the same room and having a no stress, like a de-stressed nervous system, a calm nervous system in each other's presence.
Yeah. You don't want to be like that meme of the father that bursts into the room, says, "Are you winning, son?"
Wow, that's stressful. Yeah. I've never seen the meme, but I am triggered.
He just kicks down the door and says, "Are you winning, son?"
My goodness.
Because he knows his son was playing a video game.
Oh.
And he's trying to engage with him.
Oh, I thought it was just at life.
No,
just
because
check-ins.
he knew his son was playing a video game.
Yeah.
So he just kicks down the door and says, "Are you winning, son?"
Oh, I thought it was just somebody who was just checking in at random intervals in life.
He had great intentions.
Are you succeeding at life? I don't know.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had great intentions. He was trying to connect with his son.
Yeah.
But he went about it the entire wrong way.
Yeah. Please don't do that. Let's not do that. But hopefully that makes sense. So in terms of building up this cache of positive memories, play games together, physical games together is number one. Number two, do things, anything that will make you guys laugh, share laughs together, right? And number three, get comfortable physically being in the same space together so that you build a memory that my nervous system is going to be calm when I'm in the presence of my spouse. Yeah. It seems small, but it has a big impact, right?
Your goal is to be your best friend.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your goal is to be their best friend.
Yeah. And that is the eventual goal. Actually, that is the goal.
That is the goal.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Unanimously,
you want to replace their best friend. You want to become their best friend.
That's super aggressive.
Yeah, it's supposed to be aggressive.
Okay.
There can only be one best friend. People call other people my best friend, and then they'll call someone else my best friend. You can't have two.
You know my friends are going to hear this.
You can't have two best friends.
Okay.
Do you have multiple best friends?
It depends on whether or not they hear this.
Okay. You're wrong. You have to choose one. Call your best friends and choose one.
I think
say, hey, I've decided to lower your standing.
That's a stressful conversation. Okay. So that's how you create an emotional safe space.
Yeah.
Through the repair attempts and through the building the positive memories. And the third thing that you're going to do is we spent a whole episode about this because it's so important in marriage, is to show appreciation. So in order to get into that habit, show appreciation for at least one thing each day or at least every other day. Right? So
each day.
Yeah, and you don't have to. What spouses tend to do is that if they see you doing something, they tend to reciprocate just naturally. Don't do it so that they'll reciprocate, but do it so that they will start to build those positive memories, right? Because of a positive regard. You want to fill that positive regard tank, right? So if not every day, then at least every other day, depending on your tolerance, each one's tolerance, because the thing is, if you're not used to being appreciated, if you're not used to being complimented directly, it can feel really uncomfortable, right? So sometimes you'll find that if somebody's further up on the spectrum of emotional unavailability, they will have a hard time accepting any kind of compliment. They'll wonder what the motive is. They'll reject it. It's a whole thing. So
exactly.
Yeah. So according to your tolerance, find a frequency that works for the two of you, but regularly show appreciation. Not with the goal of them reciprocating, but with the goal of them having those memories in place. It will go a long way, right? And it's so important. It's super important that the appreciation is genuine, and it's not generic, right? So it can't just be, hi, I appreciate everything that you do. I mean, that's wonderful, but it's pretty generic. A better one would be like something like, I really thank you so much for filling up the tires, because I don't know how to do that. And it means the world to me that you're here to make sure that that's done. Yeah. That's different. That goes along further away.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And that's true. I don't know how to do it. So that brings us to step 4, which is the big one, which is actually reconnecting. So the steps 1 through 3 are things that you're going to be doing all of the time, consistently, in order to sort of prepare your marriage, right? Prepare your relationship to be able to create an environment where you can do step 4, which is starting to have these conversations, right? Yeah. So step 4 is the only one that you're not going to do right away, but you might wait a little bit until you feel like he would be comfortable or she would be comfortable having this conversation about emotional needs. But I wouldn't, maybe a couple of weeks in, a few weeks in, but in the very beginning, Steps 1 through 3 of creating that environment, of building that trust and positive regard. Okay, so step 4. There are 2 things. There are 3 things in this step 4. The first thing is not going to involve your spouse. It's just going to be involving you and introspection. That first part of the step 4 is going to be you trying to be noticing what is it that they're already doing to show affection.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to take a little bit of creativity, but guaranteed, if you know deep down that your spouse loves you, right, on some level that they love you, they're just not able to express it. That's their issue. And that they are invested in your marriage and they want this marriage to work, then it's in some way, they are probably already trying to show affection. And being open to being a little bit creative and trying to understand what those ways are super reassuring, right? They're really reassuring, and they're very helpful for getting you through this process, because as the one who's going to be taking the lead, this is going to be emotionally taxing. It's not easy. It's really hard, and it requires a lot of patience, a lot of dedication. But there is positivity on the end at the other end of the tunnel. But in the meantime, these reassurances, these examples of places where your spouse is already showing you that they love you, go a long way. Let me give an example. One thing that you do that means a lot to me, and it took me a while to understand that this is how you were showing me that you cared about me, especially in the beginning, is you will throw the charger at me.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I'm like, why are you throwing this wire at me all of the time? Yeah. It's because you know that my phone is perpetually uncharged, and you're trying to make sure that my phone and my devices are charged. So you're throwing the charger at me is actually a sign of affection. And
absolutely. Now, let me just clarify the listener's mind palace.
Yes.
I'm not whipping the wire directly at her.
Yeah.
I'm tossing the charger next to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So wherever she sat, I'll just toss the wire and it'll land beside her, and it'll have been plugged in. Yeah. I'll have plugged it in.
On the other end.
Yep. And I will have tossed the rest of the wire towards her direction.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I am not attacking you with the wire.
No, it took me 4 years to figure that out. But the first 4 years, I'm like, what's happening here? Can you not throw this at me? And then after 4 years, I'm like, yeah, I care. Thank you. I appreciate it, because I see what you're actually saying, right? Another thing that you do that I really appreciate is that my water bottle is always full. I don't, and it's always full of cold water. I don't know how you do that. And that means a lot to me. So it's just a little bit of creativity and seeing the little ways in which she's already trying to show you. So do you remember the show King of Queens?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those shows that I grew up with. And in the show King of Queens, it's primarily about a husband and wife, Doug and Carrie, right? And they're just regular couple who go to regular work. There was an episode where Carrie was feeling very hurt and very insecure because she thought that Doug didn't like her food anymore. And this is one of those 90s sitcoms, so she was very, very clear with her insecurity, and he was doing this thing where he kept sneaking around and eating other food that he liked instead, making the insecurity worse. And she was really, really hurt.
Okay, so the insecurity was real.
No, it was real. It was real. It was valid.
I feel like if an insecurity is valid, then it's no longer an insecurity. I feel like it's just an observation.
Yes. Okay, so it was an observation. So by the end of the episode, she's very hurt, and he's trying to reassure her. He understands finally how hurt she is, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna do that. I really do like your food. And she's like, no, I don't believe you. No, I really do. Nothing that he was saying was helping to reassure her.
Yeah.
So they were sitting down on the couch, and at some point, he noticed that there was some food in between her teeth, and he said, let me just get this. So he removed a piece of food from her teeth, and then he flicked it away, and you could see on her face that she understood that he was being genuine, like that had landed.
Yeah.
That he did care about her.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I mean about being a little bit open and trying to see and understand the ways in which your spouse can be showing you affection already.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that was going to take a different turn.
Oh, where did it go?
I thought he was going to be like, see, I like your food so much that I'm even willing to eat the food in between your teeth.
No, that's a weird turn.
That was a crazy turn. Yeah, I thought that's where that was going.
I'm so glad it didn't.
This whole time you're like, food. No, I like your food. I like your food. There was a bit of food in her teeth.
Let me get that one too.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was on the writing floor. That
I feel like that would have stuck more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It would have been like especially for a comedy.
Yeah.
Like King of Queens.
Yeah.
I feel like if they'd been as bold to do that.
Yeah.
Then he could have been like, see, I really do like your food.
But then we wouldn't have an example for here. So I'm glad they didn't.
I feel like it still would have been a viable example.
All right.
Okay. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, fellas.
You're probably right. Right. Okay.
It would have been, I think it would have been more powerful.
Yeah.
Because he flicked the food, in the house? Why are you just flicking random food in the house? Now someone's going to have to clean that up. And it's obviously not him. Her name's Carrie.
This is true. This is true. So if we take it back to the reconnection, right?
Yeah.
So being open to understanding the ways in which your spouse is already showing you affection is helpful because it gives you an insight to how they think, but it also is very reassuring for you. It gives you some sort of foothold, right? The second thing that you're going to do in step 4 of the reconnection phase is to have this conversation about emotional needs. I call it a very low stakes, low stress conversation, right? Where it's the best way to have this conversation is to actually make it very casual so that it's not an official sit down discussion that we're going to go to our discussion place, sit down and go through the 5 steps. No, this is much better done as just a conversation, like a casual conversation.
Yeah.
What I am working on is actually a PDF that will outline what are some of the questions that you can ask or how to actually go about having this conversation. And as soon as that's available, I will let you guys know. If you are signed up already somehow on my newsletter by downloading one of the other PDFs, any of the other PDFs that we have on our website, then you are already on our newsletter, right? Then you are already on our email list. But as soon as it's available, I will send it out to the people on the email list. If you want to join the email list, feel free to download the Healthy Habits Marriage Guide in the description below. Some examples, though, for right now of some questions to ask to start to have this conversation, this emotional need conversation, is you can say things like, what was the last thing that I did that made you feel really connected to me? And like that I really love and care about you. So you're going to have to phrase that in a way that makes sense for the context of you and your spouse. But that's the idea. You're trying to get to the answer you're trying to get is you're trying to understand what are some of the things that you do that makes your spouse feel very connected to you. Yeah. Yeah. And they may or may not ask, what about you? Most likely they won't ask, what about you? Right. So what you'll do is that you'll offer. It'd be like, oh, I didn't know. Like when he gives an answer and he says, when you tell me about the things that you appreciate about me, that always means a lot to me. And you're like, oh, I'm glad it's important to me that you know how important the things that you do are. And I'm really glad that that feels good. That's helping. For me, the thing that makes me feel really good and really connected to you is blah, blah, blah. Right. Yeah. So that's how you can have that conversation, just like as a back and forth. And it's important to not just do all of these in a row in just one conversation. That might be overwhelming. You might do 1 or 2 questions and then just sort of gather the information, right? Gather the information over a series of conversations. It'll give you a much rounder picture of how to, because the best way to know how to connect with your husband is he has that information. Yeah. He knows.
Exactly.
So what you're wanting to do is you're trying to get that information from him in a way that in which it's not explicit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people are emotionally unavailable, especially further up on the spectrum, as soon as they have an idea that this is an emotional conversation, they shut down, they shy away. They're worried that if I'm being lovey-dovey, I might be being weak. Like literally when you and I are having these conversations, after I ask the second question, you always look up at me like, what is this? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Like you pick up my game and you're like, what is this? What's happening? Is this one of those lovey-dovey conversations? I'm not doing that. I said,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Fight or flight.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, right now.
Yeah.
There's not even any guessing involved. There are legitimately simply 4 ways to connect with your husband.
What are they? Are you going to tell me or no?
No, all I need to know is that there are 4 ways to connect.
Are you I honestly have no idea.
People go around calling it the Connect 4 rule.
Oh, so this is a joke about Connect 4 game?
I don't know anything about this game that you're trying to allege that I know.
Okay, so it was a joke about Connect 4. Anyway, we're going to go continue. But hopefully that makes sense, right? So I'm going to give you in that document, that PDF, as soon as it's done, a long list of these questions, and to hopefully give you the information that you need to know about how does your husband best connect with you, so that you can implement those in your routines, right? And things that you do. And then the third thing, so we talked about with respect to reconnecting. The first thing is that we said about trying to be aware of ways in which he's already trying to connect with you. The second thing is to have these casual, low-stress conversations about connection and emotional need by asking him 1 or 2 questions to be able to get that information of how he best connects with you, and then implementing that into your routine. And then the third thing that you can do when he's up for it is to take a love language quiz, right? So remember Gary Chapman has his 5 love languages. There are so many quizzes. I don't want to post any particular quiz because I'm not associated with these people.
You gotta do your own research.
Yeah, just literally Google. There are so many.
Do your own research.
All right. Just literally Google any of these quizzes, and then just take a quiz and see. No, there's 2 levels to love languages. There's a language where in which you speak love, right? In which you show love, and there's a language in which you receive love.
Okay.
Most of the time, those are 2 different languages, right? So, for example, with me, definitely with you, the way that you show love is through acts of service
and tolerance.
Okay. And tolerance, but acts of service, like filling my water bottle, like making sure my phone is charged, all those little things. And the way that you receive love is through quality time, right? Yeah. So like that, the way that you show and receive love, make sure the way you're aware what those are for yourself and what those are for your spouse. Okay. That will be very helpful by connecting with him in a way in which he receives love. So that I know that when I want to connect with you, I pull up a chair and I spend time with you by doing whatever game that you're doing or whatever.
Rocket League, usually.
Yeah, usually Rocket League.
I only really like you to watch me play Rocket League.
Yeah, I'm not good at the zombie games. Or sometimes we'll play chess. You don't like the chess?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just,
It doesn't hit? It doesn't hit the same? Okay.
It needs to be a bit stronger.
Are you saying that I'm not good at chess?
Alhamdulillah.
Should I stop letting you win?
Oh, I would love that.
Okay, all right.
I would love that.
Okay, all right. Let's just give me a month and I'll be back with better skills, In Shaa Allah. But that's it for this episode of how to reconnect with an emotionally unavailable spouse. As always, you guys know that I always summarize everything because my goal is to teach concepts. Bear with me. I know this has already been a very long episode. We said that there are 4 steps. The first step is going to be understanding where the emotional unavailability comes from with respect to positive interactions and negative interactions, right? And understanding what are the little antidotes for the positive the issues in the positive interaction and the issues in the negative interaction. After that, we reviewed the basic principles, and there were 6 basic principles to keep in mind during this process of trying to reconnect with your spouse. After that, we talked about how to create an emotionally safe space. Again, there's a whole episode of that. I'm going to be linking it in the description below. But for this episode, we said there are 3 things that you can do to start to create an emotionally safe space. Number 1, let the repair attempts land. Number 2, you need to build a cache of positive memories together. And number 3, show a lot of appreciation. And finally, step 4, having those reconnecting conversations. First thing is to be aware of the ways in which your spouse is already trying to show affection. That'll give you an idea of how they like to connect already. Then the second thing is to have these low stakes, low stress conversations about emotional needs and connection, where you ask them in a roundabout way, what are the ways in which you like to connect? And then do more of what those things are. And then finally, take the love language quiz, and that'll give you a lot more information about the ways in which they like to connect. For extra ideas of different ways to connect, including some that are specific to love language, feel free to download my Healthy Habits Marriage Guide, relatively short PDF. The description is in the link below. And if you join that email list, as soon as that PDF is available of all of the questions, the connecting questions, I will be happy to send that out to you as well. Super duper long episode. We haven't done an episode this long in a very long time. Is there anything that we're missing?
No, I feel like we covered everything and then some.
And then some. So if you have stayed here all this time, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, we appreciate you more than you know, for choosing to spend your time with us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, even if you're listening to this on one of the podcast platforms, please go back and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, because it really, really helps us out, especially because we're not on Spotify anymore. So for all the people who don't have Apple, YouTube is how we try to primarily reach them. And I think that should be everything. Stay safe in this world, wherever you are. Have a wonderful weekend, and Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.